Hey everybody, so today we're going to talk a little bit about writing, and I know that a lot of you are going to go, oh my gosh, writing, but we're going to do some things today, or talk about some things that are hopefully going to make your writing process a lot easier. Now, I know how it is. You're in class, and all of a sudden you have a teacher that says, we're going to write an essay on Beowulf, or we are going to write in our journals. And there's a big difference between writing an essay that is going to take some time and writing in a journal. So today we're going to talk about some pre-planning, some things you can do when you get that assignment from your teacher and it's got to be an essay that you're going to have some time to work at. And I look at this as pre-writing. And you may say pre-writing, and yeah, pre-writing is a little bit of thinking before you start writing. And it may seem kind of crazy, but what I see students do a lot of times when they're given an assignment where they have to write an essay, they immediately get a piece of paper, they get a pencil, and they just start writing. And then halfway through, they're like, they don't know what to do next. Or sometimes they're like, I don't know where to start. So pre-writing will help you and help make your assignment a lot easier. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open up this little packet here, and I've got a few tips to show you. The first one is planning. Now, we plan to go on vacation. We do all these plans for prom. We do all these plans for weddings. But a lot of times when it comes to writing, we just sit down and write. Now, that's okay if you're making a grocery list or if you're just doing a spontaneous writing assignment. But if your teacher has asked you to do an essay or work on a research paper, you need to do some planning. It's probably the most important part of the entire writing process. And if you do some planning, some pre-writing activities, then you're going to find out that it's a lot easier to get this done. All right. So the first thing is you're going to think about your foundation. We've all heard the analogy of the house. You know, a house has to have a good foundation. And if it doesn't have a good foundation, then it's going to fall. Well, think about your pre-writing and your planning as the foundation for what you're going to do. And if you do some of this in the beginning, it's going to make your paper so much stronger. All right. Now, one of the first things you need to do in this process is called brainstorming. And hopefully you know what that means. But when you brainstorm, you're not going to necessarily say something's right or wrong. You're just going to write down everything you can think of. This is when you get some ideas. You can get a sheet of paper and just kind of jot some notes down. Let's say your teacher has given you an assignment to write an essay about a short story. Well, the first thing you probably want to do, let's say she says themes. You might want to sit down and think, well, what are some themes in that story? And go ahead and jot some things down. Once you do that brainstorming, that will kind of give you an idea of where you want to go next. All right. One thing that you need to do in your writing when you're starting your pre-planning process is to think, what is my message? I see students a lot of time that just start writing and they forget what their message is. And what I mean by that, let's say your teacher wants you to write an essay on the best vacation that you've ever had. Well, let's say you start writing and all of a sudden you start talking about this event that happened on your vacation. You went snorkeling, you saw a dolphin, whatever, and you go off on this tangent. Well, you've kind of forgot what your message is. So make sure that you keep in mind that you know what message it is that you're trying to get across in your writing. And lastly, who are you speaking to? Who is going to be reading your essay? One of the things that I see a lot of times in high school is when you start doing research papers, a lot of students want to say, today I'm going to write about Beowulf, or today I'm going to tell you about the themes of Beowulf. And you don't want to do that because whoever's reading your paper knows what you're going to be reading about based on what they see. So you don't have to tell them you're going to be doing that. So, what I want you to do today is we are going to play around with some pre-writing activities. And what I want you to do is a simple brainstorm activity. What you're going to do is you're going to use the topic dogs. Okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to have the idea, Why is a dog man's best friend? So you're going to get a sheet of paper. You can do this on a scratch sheet of paper, but probably a decent size paper is going to be really good. And you're going to write at the top, why is a dog man's best friend? Okay, I've got this at the top of my paper. Okay, here. Why is a dog man's best friend? Okay, the first thing you're going to do, we're going to go back to this planning. Let's think about our foundation. What do you know about this topic? What information do you already have up here that you can contribute? How can you tie this in maybe to your life? And just jot some things down. You don't have to worry about being spelled perfectly. You might just write down here that you had a dog named Kip, and Kip was always by your side when you were outside playing. Whatever, just write down some stuff. Think of things that you know about already. Think about maybe stories that you've read. Jot all that down. What type of stuff that you can back up why is a dog man's best friend? Okay, that's starting your foundation. Now, you're going to continue with the brainstorming process. What other things do you know about dogs? Do you know people that don't like dogs? Do you know dogs that maybe have rescued people? Maybe have you ever been in a situation where you've seen the canine units? Write all of that down. Even if you don't think you may use any of that information, still. And when I say write it down, I'm not looking for big sentences. Just put police dog, helper dogs. How about um, those dogs that help people that have disabilities with vision? So the sight dogs. Write all of that down just so you'll kind of put it in place there. All right. The next one. What is the message? Okay, your message that you're going to stick with is why are dogs man's best friend? So keep referring back to what your message is, and then finally think about who your audience is going to be. Now, in this situation, if their teacher gives you this topic to write about, your teacher's going to be reading it. But you also can think, well, it might be someone who's interested in dogs, or someone who may want more information on how they can get a dog because they want that relationship or that companionship. So anyway, what I want you to do is I want you to use what you've known, your prior knowledge, and brainstorm some ideas. And all you're going to do to get credit for this activity is you are going to take a picture of your brainstorming and your planning just for the topic, why is a dog a man's best friend? And you're going to take a picture and upload it for credit. Now, this is just a pre-writing activity, so we're not going to get into any detail, but in the next few weeks, we're going to be talking more and more about ways we can strengthen our writing. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.